Good morning, Faith Community. I want to ask you a question this morning. Have you ever had a moment in your life where you've worked extremely hard for something, only to have it all fall apart? We're facing a time in our nation's history where many have worked diligently for things, expectations that are not going to be realized. High school seniors aren't going to get to walk across the stage. Some of them would have been the first in their family to have that moment. Many college graduates aren't going to have a graduation. There are young couples who are engaged, who are looking forward to a big wedding celebration, who aren't going to be able to experience that joy that they've been looking forward to for months, some even for years. My family and I had planned a vacation this summer. We were going on a cruise with my in-laws to celebrate my in-laws' 40th wedding anniversary, and we had to cancel that. It's in moments like this that life can seem very futile. Solomon was captivated with the futility of life. He wrote a whole book about it, Ecclesiastes. I want to share with you this morning from Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verses 2 and 3. Solomon says this: absolute futility, says the teacher. Absolute futility. Everything is futile. What does a person gain for all his efforts that he labors at under the sun? Solomon says it's all futile. You work and you work and you work. And what does it amount to? Some people lose everything. Some people die before they can enjoy it. What is the point of everything that we are laboring for? In chapter 8, he says this, verse 17, I observed all the work of God and concluded that a person is unable to discover the work that is done under the sun. Even though a person labors hard to explore it, he cannot find it. Even if a wise person claims to know it, he is unable to discover it. Solomon's conclusion is no matter how smart you are, you're not going to figure out what the point of all of this is. Why? Because futility is pointless. Now, we get to the New Testament, and Paul tells us that futility has an ultimate purpose. See, Ecclesiastes is written from a temporary perspective, from a finite perspective. Paul encourages us to get our eyes off of the finite onto the infinite. Paul says this in Romans 8, verses 18 through 21. He says, for I consider that the sufferings of this present time are not worth comparing with the glory that is going to be revealed to us. For the creation eagerly waits with anticipation for God's sons to be revealed. For the creation was subjected to futility, not willingly, but because of him who subjected it, in the hope that the creation itself will also be set free from the bondage to decay into the glorious freedom of God's children. Paul says that these sufferings at this present time that we're going through are not worth comparing with the glory that's going to be revealed to us. In other words, the hard things that we have to experience in this life are not worth comparing to infinite pleasures at the right hand of God. Any finite quantity, when compared to an infinite, is nothing. I can show that to you mathematically. Now here's the reality. Paul tells us there actually is a purpose in all of the futility of creation. He explains it in verse 20. He says, for the creation was subjected to futility, not willingly, but because of him who subjected it in hope. The point of futility is hope. You see, when we look at this life and we see everything falling apart, nothing working out, people dying before they can enjoy what they have accumulated, it reminds us of this reality. It's not about this life. When you look at suffering from a temporary perspective, it can seem so pointless. But the purpose of futility is hope. It's that we might get our eyes off of this life and onto the next. One of my favorite quotes from a pastor named John Piper is that this life so soon shall pass. Only what's done for Christ will last. All that matters is what you're doing that's going to last into eternity. Get your eyes off of what's temporary and get them on what's eternal. We're going to talk tomorrow about how to